So the second one that I want to make sure that we covered was from the Creative Blog. It's very new. It only dropped 3 hours ago, so it's trending right now. But it's why Hockney's mocked London Underground art is actually genius. Obviously, I'm not the expert on London, so I'll defer to Mustafa on this one, and he can give like a brief overview of like what this means. If you're not familiar, the London Underground is obviously the subway system. I think
yeah, so London's metro system is basically so the London metro system is very famous in terms of the graphic design world. The typeface that was used there was I think it's called Johnson originally, and it was there was an iteration like Gill Sans, designed by Eric Gill, or Jill Sans, Eric Gill. And so a lot of the iconography, the what we call it, the tube, which is like our metro system, underground system. The shape's iconic, the map's iconic, and so it has a very traditional design history, very rich for the last 100 years or so. And David Hockney's been asked to design or redesign some of the signs. And I'll be honest, when I saw this, I thought it's like the London Olympics logo all over again. It is the biggest pile of crap. He's a famous artist, I get it, but and people say this is genius. I look at that and I think it just seems like such a cynical thing to design. Sorry, this is the most negative I've been, but I can because I'm British and it's a British artist. It's just such a cynical thing. I mean, yeah. It would have been better if they just got Banksy to do something. Do you know what I mean? Because then at least it has some sort of credit. Like, you know, I mean, Hockney's really famous, but that I think would be much more telling of the time. And on Twitter, the level of comic people, because it just looks like a child's drawing. Like because the underground or the metro systems, like what we call in the UK, we call it the underground because the metro system is predominantly underground. Is a circle with a line going through it, and that's kind of like. But like that's the basic shape, and then what he's done is just it looks so like childlike. So people on Twitter have just done all these different versions, which are just basically sarcastic interpretations. And people are like saying, "Hey, look, keep your DMs open. I'll give you £6 for each one of these rubbish drawings." And people are quite angry. But I suppose the genius is that people are talking about it. If you want to take that as the thing.
I mean, like, the best way of describing it is it looks like someone made it, like, in...
Paint.
Like, paint. Like, I think... So, like, originally I was like, this is ridiculously bad. And now I'm like, this is actually kind of brilliant.
Oh, not you as well. Ryan, our relationship's going to be affected forever after that. Yeah.
I mean, so how many different, was it just the one? I saw the one that was like a circle with like a, I guess that's like obviously the tube, but like, was there different variations or was it just the same symbol?
It's a series of major art projects commissioned. Well, the Mayor of London says it's a brilliant work from David Hockney in Piccadilly, which Piccadilly is an area which was a famous station, Piccadilly Circus. The first of a series of major art projects we've commissioned as part of our new brand Let's Do It London campaign. And if you just look at the replies to the tweet, like Specsavers, which is a very famous brand, and it's like a glasses brand, and they've always had this slogan like their ads will be someone does something silly, and then the slogan is you should have gone to Specsavers, as in buy glasses, and Specsavers has replied to the actual mayor saying see me. So it's like, you know, brands on Twitter basically trolling the mayor is a joke. And if you just see oh my god, Monzo, which is a famous bank, or it's like a digital bank, they've replied to the mayor. Then here's one for you from our collection, perhaps a new exhibition, and they've just written Monzo in what looks like paint as well. And I think that, well, this is the thing with brands, right? Like, it depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to enrage people, if you want to get people to talk about it, it's a great way of doing it. But it just seems really sarcastic and cynical. You know, and again, it's like, you're a famous artist. Like, I know you might be bored, but then, you know, this doesn't do anything for British art, I'll tell you that, man.
No, I totally hear you. What's the reaction like? Have you talked to any friends or family? Have they kind of said anything, or is the first time you saw this online?
No, well, I saw it on Twitter and people like taking the cake. I don't know if that's the American or taking the mick, or so they say in the UK, taking the biscuit or taking something. Well, he's obviously taken something to do this kind of work. When that things, no one's really, people are quite reluctant to go on the underground due to COVID or the metro system. But